MindMajix, and it's a global online training and corporate training which gives hundreds of courses with professional IT courses, which it includes the corporates and as well students. Everything. Okay, what are the things that we are going to discuss here? Means exactly we can say from basic, that is how you can set up an environment of a React.JS where you can write your own code and develop the application which it loads the data or a application in a fraction of seconds with the concepts of React.js. Here, if you observe the concepts, essentials, or we can say components, JavaScript extension, architecture, which it leads from basic or fundamental process to become a certified React.js developer. And we include the concepts additionally how you can reduce the loading time, which is called a performance optimization, how you can write a code of testing which you have written a component, a small functionality or a large functionality, where finally deploying it into live. Because of once we are done the concept of a React.js application, irrespective of the client requirement, we have to deploy it into live so that the public can connect and can have a look at it, what we have done. Of course, it's a point of, we can say, return of investment. It's a point of, we can say, production. There are two environments we have, not only in React, irrespective of the programming language, irrespective of the technology, we say two things, which is called development and production. Whatever we are writing and creating a functionality, it comes under the point of development. Once we are done, when we make it into a live, we say it is a production. Here we are going to discuss what is React, why it is used to build, especially a concept of user interfaces and history, installation, a process, and the React.js framework and the building blocks of React.js, JavaScript extension, transpiler, virtual document object model, components, probes, states, events, and router forms references. Even a component lifecycle is an important. Of course, every concept is an important. Depends upon the situation. We have to deal with that concept. I will let you know how it will be. Coming to the point, we to reduce instead of writing for each and every time a code from scratch to end, the React, we have some developer tools which it can be installed either in Chrome or Safari or Mozilla Firefox, irrespective of the browser. It reduces to view the what are the functionalities you have done, how the flow is working, a graphical presentation, and some other concepts. That is called, we can say, developer tools, which is called, which reduces and which gives a clear meaning what we have done about that particular application. Whereas components page view is nothing but a page what user is seeing. Maybe Facebook, maybe Twitter, maybe Google, whatever. When you open a google.com, you are seeing something page. The page consisting of a search box, a navigation links, and different parts, which we can say different components which connect to home page. That is what we can say components page view. The kinds of applications and that you can build with the React approach. There are actually 2 points that we'll discuss to the coming next few seconds. What are those two different ways of approaching an application using the React? And we here in this session will create a sample application also, how to write a code and develop, or as we can say, how to build a code and run that code and see that output. Even I will explain with the errors how to rectify also. Not only the point of successful, not only point of directly writing the code and getting an output is not main. It's just how you have to face the errors which you are getting, that will also will be discussed. At the same time, when it comes to the point of career and what are the features, sorry, what are the what you can say job raising opportunities of React.JS compared to other technologies, how it is higher. Coming to the point of other technologies, we'll discuss and we'll show a graph also. Then, so the question we are saying that React.js, a simple statement, what you are reading here, I will explain in a simple statement. Most of the members will say React.js is a framework. Of course, it's habituated even a number of people also. But it is a library of JavaScript, or we can say it is a JavaScript library. React.js is a JavaScript library which is used to build interfaces in an application. What is a JavaScript library? Questions, and what is an user interface? Coming to that point. And it is maintained by Facebook of a community with individual developers and even some companies. Especially React started with the concept of irrespective of the client application. For example, if I'm having a requirement, I want to calculate the distance from my location to somewhere else, maybe a shop nearby shopping malls, or nearby something else, for example, cinema halls, hotels, like this. Just I want to calculate the distance. Okay, we have Google Maps, we have some other things, but even how that developed, a Google Map is giving an output which you have from the location, and how far it is giving, so how far it is long to the destination. In that, developing an application, they will be taking something, a sample latitude and longitude of your location, longitude and longitude of that destination location, and minusing and giving something number. The same, if I have, so to create something irrespective, okay, either it may be Google Map or else I have something explanation like this. I have a YouTube channel, for example, let us assume, and I want to show especially all the videos which is uploaded in the YouTube that should automatically display in my website. Getting my point? I'm saying I just want to pick up all the YouTube videos which I have uploaded in YouTube website that should show in my website. So what is that you have to do? You have to connect to YouTube website. You have to get that API link and connect to your website, and that will a piece of code that you have to write. That is what we can say how React.js can be used irrespective of the programming, sorry, irrespective of the application. Coming to the point overall, simply what I say is to write something, a program which has to be executed for n number of times irrespective of the user requirement. We have to set some sample code, we have to set something, a set of statements that is nothing but we can say a JavaScript library which is having a set of statements that can be written for n number of lines and that can be used for n number of places. If you read that statement, JavaScript libraries or collections of pre-written JavaScript code that can be used for common JavaScript tasks. That is what I have given you sample examples of YouTube, which I want to bring into my website, or I want to create a common functionality of a distance calculation like this. Then the question I said, okay, JavaScript library is nothing but a point of a piece of code that can be commonly used wherever it is required. Coming to the point of user interfaces, simply we can say, irrespective of the website, okay, at least a contact us page will be having. If I am creating a website, even I am a non-technical person, let us assume, I came to you, I have asked you to build a website for me, expected something a lot contact us page where a visitors can contact me through the entry point of a page with the form details, form entry details, right now. So what I say here, the contact us means or sign up or register, whatever it is, the field email or password. If you look into the website sample here, these are the two fields that are holding the data and passing the data or doing something, sending a mail or saving the data or any other option, any other opportunity, sorry, any other functionality. The concept here is irrespective, maybe registration, login, or contact us or feedback, any concept, you have to analyze what are the fields that you have to take, what are the validations you have to do, how you have to approach all these points in a particular place. Let me tell you, I will just draw some sample here. Let us assume this is a memory location, and here user is requesting your page. This is somewhere as your page is there with a data, name, email, mobile number, whatever it might be. User is requesting your page, and as you have built a sample form fields, user is entering the details and user is creating their own space with the name John, email john@gmail.com, mobile number something 111 something. Let us assume. Another person coming and registering, that is separate. Meaning it is a common template irrespective of the n number of people. That is what you are going to design is a concept what can say user interfaces. It is a declarative, efficient, and a flexible JavaScript library for building user interfaces with compose complex UIs, that is user interfaces, from small and isolated pieces of code. Overall statement, what we say is this is a statement. You are creating a sign up, you are creating a contact us, you are creating something. But finally, you have to analyze what are the fields that you have to take and where user is entering the details, how to create a separate memory. Like this. Now coming to the point, React.JS in the very beginning itself we have discussed. React.JS is used to develop user is used to develop the single page applications or we can say mobile applications. In that single page applications or mobile applications, user interfaces concepts will be happen. What I say, an application is a concept of, for example, if you are creating a shopping cart, let us take another example. Immediately, if there is a question to you from your client, I want to create a shopping cart application, then suggest me how to approach. Then what you have to say? You have to say, take some vendors separation, separate part, customers separate part, and administration separate part. Vendors, the persons who is selling the products, irrespective, they will be having their own accounts. In their accounts, I am saying, vendor is registering, and that place you will be coming to the point of user interface. Hope you are getting my point. So an application is a point of a building of an application with a different sectors or categories. Like I am saying here, an application of shopping cart, you will be having, let us assume I'm just drawing some sample. Let me tell you. You will be having vendors separate, customers separate, at the same time administration part separate. Vendors will be having their own fields. At designing a field, vendor is coming and registering. In that case, you have to say user interface. That is wherever that user is interacting with your application through forms or data manipulation, then we say that concept of user interface, but the concept of single page application means the concept of single page application is irrespective of n number of functionalities in a particular page, which it won't interrupt the another functionality and give you an output faster. The statement here, if you observe overall, the meaning of these two paragraphs is saying that the concept of a single page application is loading the data which is required as in your browser itself when if it is related to something, a database connectivity, then only it just connect to backend. Earlier, in the very beginning of JavaScript or something programming language, we used to work programming, writing a program, requesting, for example, about us.html or we can say services.html page. HTML even HTML pages also for each and every time from when you type in the URL from your browser is nothing but a client will be connected to server and it has to it has to pick up that page from the server and have to keep or have to return back as a response to your client again. Meaning for each and every page when you are requesting to see you are connecting from client to server and server to client. In that case, as n number of requests, server is not only for me, server is not only for you, or server is not only for one particular person or something, or one particular person or user something. Irrespective throughout the world, once we deploy the project or an application into live, it has to be ready to accept hundreds and thousands of records in each and every second also. That's why in the previous days, we used to get the websites delay in loading that website or application. To overcome the concept in React.JS, observe a modern JavaScript, a modern front-end JavaScript framework like React app is usually built in a single page application. You only load the application code of HTML, CSS, JavaScript once. That means the static files are just only one time. It will be just coming and saving in or coming and ready to work with your data, ready to work with your designs, with your pages. Only when it is required to do some manipulations, then only it is connecting to the point of server. So a simple statement we can say for each and every common request, we can have a point, a part of a data that can be already kept ready for us in our browsers, in our client side itself. When it is a point of related to backend to fetch the data, then only it will connect to server, and that also only for one time. It will just fetch and keep it ready for you for the next time onwards. It will be ready to use. That is the concept of single page. Simply we can say in another point, a statement irrespective of the functionality, ready to work at your page without interrupting the other functionality and loading the data in a fraction of seconds. That is the point also we can say. General statement. Then coming to the point of React history, it is a new technology which comparing to other technologies, it came into existence in 2011. Mr. Jordan Wage, a software engineer at Facebook, created that library. What is a library? The question we have a difference, we have to find out the difference between framework and we can say library. Let me tell you simple statement. The difference especially between library and a framework is inversion of control. Of course, that is going to be discussed in the coming point. But at this moment, just remember that point. We'll move to that point also. Inversion of control. What is that inversion of control? We'll discuss. In this meanwhile, let us have a discussion about the history. Mr. Jordan worked a software engineer at Facebook, created that library. That is, he initiated the simple functionality with the concept of React and then explored a lot. And it is especially influenced by the likes of XHP, which is a simple combination of HTML and a PHP technology, which is a backend, whereas HTML is a front end, right? And PHP is a backend. So the combination of these two things they have already done with XHP, and these Jordan Wake have created a library with the concept of something using where a React.JS can execute a program at client side at the same time at the server side, both the places. That is also one of the advantage we can say. The concept of React.js, it executes a program. It depends upon the requirement at the client side or at the same time even at server side also. And then the first use case of React was in Facebook's news feed. What is a news feed? Loading the details of headlines of a current, what you can say, affairs or the current lively, irrespective of the actions what happened throughout our surroundings and so on right now. So just loading the details, a news feed in 2011, it just started with the concept of news feed and then pick up one by one with Instagram, and they have implemented the concept of React.js. And finally, at approximately 2013, they have converted it into an open source, the React.js open source. What is an open source? Even I'm writing a program that I can publish to you, or else I can publish where anyone can copy and paste, I mean, where anyone can download my code and can be used into the application. If you have done your application, and for example, that is what I can say, sample application related to calculation of age, sample application calculation of something, a distance between the two locations. I just wants to use. My client have asked me. I came to your web page and downloaded your code and have deployed into my application. So there is no point of any, we can say, license. We can say open source means free to use. And additionally to all the points, React.js is not only a point of a web application space, it even supports to the concept of mobile applications also. That's why, irrespectively, of course, not too much or not total overall statement, overall functionality, a few statements that is common to React Native also. What I say is, I have written, let us assume, I have written a plus b to adding of two numbers. The same code, how I have written to apply in a web application, that will be even apply in the mobiles also, mobile, just with few changes, not overall creating from basic to ending in a new way with a concept of common functionality, just as device is changing, so it is just changing the code few points. So React is not only fixed to the concept of web application, it even supports to the mobile applications. That is what we say React Native was announced, which enabled easy development with Android and iOS development. Then coming to the point of, okay, we are saying that from the beginning onwards, React.js will be doing this one and simple applications, a single page applications, and all these points. But we are very much interested or curiosity how we have to set up and how we have to run. If you have a look at it, why we should run a Node.js? Because React.js is a JavaScript library, we are saying. It's not a standalone or it's not a having its own features, its own plugins on its own. As JavaScript is a client side, according to the concept of a application, the what you can say, functionality. For example, if I have a requirement to create an animation, let us assume when a query from the client, if it is to develop an animation, immediately what I have to think, I have to think, okay, how many types of animations are there? Like we can say sliding animation, fading animation, zooming animation. You might have seen a number of websites so far. Maybe even a shopping cart website. When you click on the particular image, it will show zooming effect a larger image. Visualize what I'm saying, right? So as I have in an animation with multiple concepts, even at sliding also, I have a left to right to left, something like this. Meaning, if you observe, let me tell you, this is an animation package, sliding, fading, and okay, make it zoom in, zoom in sliding, left to right, whereas again right to left in fading, fade in, zoom out, zoom in, like this. So these are the functionalities of this. These are the functionalities of this. These are the functionalities of this. Meaning, in sliding we have segregated two different functionalities. In fading we have segregated again two different functionalities. And in what you can say zooming also we have segregated again two functionalities. And all these we set in animation. So what I say is, when we come to the point of something and action have to be kept ready for the user, then we have to consider it as a package. And animation is a package where sliding, fading, and zoom. These are the three modules. A module can have n number of individual functionalities. So, what is a package? A package is a group of modules. What is a module? A group of functions. These all packages which requires, one of the example I have explained. There are hundreds of packages are kept ready with the concept of a Node.js, which is Node Package Manager. To run this Node Package Manager, we need to set up first Node.js. And for timing, I'm just going to say what is a Node.js. A Node.js, simple terms we can say, it is a JavaScript runtime environment, first point. Second point, to understand a Node.js is a point of, we can say, client and server communication. Overall simple statement, what I say means, whatever we require to work with an React.js, to set up a React.js with a basic functionality, you need to keep ready with sample code. That code is nothing but sample functionalities. That functionalities are kept under the packages. And to load the packages, first we need to go to the concept of Node.js and nodejs.org. I will let you know how to install, also how to set up every point. At this moment, I'm just saying Node.js you have to run. Then second option, Node.js package manager. Once you have done, you have to check it out in the command prompt, these two things, node version and npm version. If it is showing successfully, then we can ready to work with the concept of React application. npm install -g is a global installation. We are using a word, it is a keyword, we can say it is a tool, create hyphen react hyphen app. It is a tool which using to create your own application. I'm using create hyphen react hyphen app name, my app name or your app name, or what you can say, animation app name, my React.js application, anything, whatever the project that you are going to create, use create hyphen React-app and something. Once you're done, just enter into that and you have to type the command in the very beginning if you want to see whether it is properly successfully installed your application. Then you can type npm start, which is connect to the application and run, compile everything. Whether it is successful, then it will open with the browser. Local host is nothing but a local server with a particular port number. Every application will run on the particular same 3000 is a port number. This is how. So, I mean, these are the steps, which is simple, and I will show how you can also set up an environment and how you can also see that output, everything. Okay, then coming to the point. 1 second, hold on. See here, as in the very beginning, I told you, everyone we used to say React.JS is a framework, but actually it is not a framework. It is especially done with the concept of JavaScript library. And the difference between what I said just few seconds ago, the library and a framework, is inversion of control. What is the meaning? Means when you call a method from a library, you are in control. That means you means here application. When coming to the point of framework, the control is inverted. That is framework calls you. That means framework is giving a call to your functionality, whereas library means you are giving a call to the function. Your application code is giving a call to the programming, how to execute and everything. Simply the difference is inversion of control is the program what you are done. You are in control, whereas here opposite. Frameworks controls you. A library is just a collection of class definitions. That is what we can say simple points. What is a framework? What is a library? And whether a React.js is a framework or library means the questions will be, sorry, the answers will be React.js is not a framework. Why it is not a framework means because it is especially written with the n number of built-in functions, class definitions, and that are you connected into your application with the JavaScript library collection of class definitions use, using into your application. Whereas here, React is a library for building composable user interfaces. It encourages creation of reusable UI components, which present data that changes over time. Overall meaning, finally, what we say is there is a some set of statements that should be reusable, and these can also be updatable or can also be modified by any programmer. Then we say it is a point of, we can say, a library. Okay, that coming to the point, when you come to the point of a React.js, a basic things, a common things that you have to discuss when you start up an application to end up an application. It's a common words are JavaScript extension, whereas transpiler, virtual document object model. I will show, I will let you know. Components and props, event states, and even we can say events also. To know all these things, I will show the code, how you are going to write a code and what is a state, what is a prop, what is a component. I will explain through practical. Okay, that when I explain with practical, I will let you know the definitions. Then we have discussed in the very beginning as we have some default or we can say which reduces our work. some developer tools, React site, React create React app, a storybook, and React style guide is React Proto. These are some of the already built up tools which we can install irrespective of the browsers and can execute our program. But that doesn't mean all the tools will be implemented, all the tools will be used commonly in all the applications. It's not like that. Depends upon the requirement we will be using. For example, if my requirement is used to make it something a responsive application, I will use the React Bootstrap. If I want to make it something, the overview, what are the functions I have done, like in a point of graphical, in a point of graphics, then I will go with the concept of, we can say, React site. So like this depends upon the requirement, we will be implementing the concepts or we will be using the developer tools. And this is what you are going to build a page in HTML, header, banner, something strip, sidebar panel, maybe left hand side panel, and container like this. These are all from these. That is first node. That is first with this starting, then down. Then if you observe here from 1 and 2, beside that, that is a row wise, it is giving preference. That is a React.JS, how it will work internally means you will be designing a page and that will be given a call first. From that, it is connected to the downwards at the same time side part also. From this, it is connected to the fourth and fifth. That doesn't mean you have to link these two things. It is just showing in the point of node concept from a main banner. Then it has to load a something, a strip or a sign up. Here you have given something, a news feed or a sign up panel or login panel. Then that is also loaded. Again, once totally a line, a row is completed, then the second row is going to be connected and loaded. This is how you can see the concept of what you can say React UI components. And in the beginning, I told you we have a two way that we have to approach with the concept of React. If you observe here, state management and state rendering are the two different points that we have to observe how you are going to approach to your application. We have events. Events is nothing but user is clicking or dragging or hovering or typing. These are all we can say event handlers, which actions done by users. And based on that requirement, you have to connect to that updating that property, updating that data is nothing but a state. A state is a combination of props. I will write that also point. And from that state, you are updating to the UI, meaning first events based on the user actions, you are updating into the particular place of data. From that data, you are giving an output to the UI. That is called, we can say, state management and state rendering. This is page. Okay, let us come to the point of creating and how we can develop an application and create a functionality. Okay, as I have given you steps about the concept of installation. Let me just go back. Node.js runtime, npm package manage, all these points. Let us assume that you have set up at this moment and you have created my React app. These are the place where all the required modules of React modules will be loaded and kept ready for your application. Like for example, array or bootstrap or CSS tools or something form functionality. Each and every concept is kept ready. Each functionality is having its own features, that is a functionality, how it can be used into your application. Okay, how you are going to use, will let you know. And then that is a React application will be having node modules, public. Public is a place where all HTML files, of course, only one index file will be having. If you want to create any style sheets, if you want to use any images, then you can also place here. Then SRC is a place where an SRC is having some files and folders. Let me open in an editor. A React app is having three basic folders, which are node modules, public, and SRC. In the SRC, you have index.js. A simple point, when I want to see the output of adding of two numbers in JavaScript, what do you say? You have to write a functionality and that has to bring some output. That output you have to print in the HTML format. Right now, here also we have to run a program through index.js, and this is loading data into the root, where that root is there in the public index.html file. That is, throughout your program, maybe a small or medium or large application, finally a single placement of an output. So in React.js, an output is coming at index.html, but that root is connected to index.js. And this, instead of writing a large functionality, for example, you have shopping cart. Let's know. So just now we have discussed shopping cart functionality would be having searching functionality, registration functionality, adding to cart functionality, purchasing of products functionality, that is online purchasing functionality, and validations of each and everything, and so on a number of functionalities. When you are creating any concept or any application, instead of directly loading a huge code in the index, you are segregating. That means it is an index page. It is, I mean, index HTML. It is connected with the index.js file, and it is connected to default an app component. From this app component, you can have n number of, that is maybe functionality 1, functionality 2, functionality 3, functionality 4, like this, any number of things that you can create. All these functionalities returning their own outputs to single app component, and this app is reverting to index, and that is connected to what you can say index page. Why we are doing this? Because of to reduce the final output place, the loading time, or else you can say to reduce the loading fun, what you can say loading of a data from all the functionalities. And is, if you have connected F1 directly, that is function 1, function 2, function 3, function 4, like this we can have a number of functions, and all the functions are coming and displaying in the index.html directly. The page will have too much of content, and the page will be having too much of complicated also. To make it simpler, or what can say faster execution, that's why they have given the concept of making a functionalities whatever that you want, maybe 2 or 3 or 4, a number of things. All these first connect to app component default name, and this app is responsible giving an information to the index page where it's loading in the index.html page. Getting my point? So this is a concept of how a React flow is working. Then let us now see that code, how it will be. These are React is a module from React package. And now I am here writing a class For our understanding purpose, how a program, how to write, where it has to write, how to execute. I'm just giving an idea. Okay, class, the name of that component which extends from the React module of its subcomponent. Then every every component that should return its output. Just now we have seen in design. Right now, I am doing some functionality one, and that has to be ready to give some output finally. That's why first you need to render is nothing but a executing of your application, executing of your program. In this render, you have to write a return method with something statement. I'm writing here, welcome to something statement. As soon as you save, we have discussed here, you need to type the command of npm start. Once you start type and it compile your program and execution, if everything is done successfully, then we will get this statements here, and we can see that output as I have already kept ready because it will take a few seconds or few 2 to 3 minutes. That's the reason I just kept ready. But when we come to the point of a statement step by step, what can I say, practical things, I will let you know how to set up an environment, even how to execute each and every point. So localhost colon 3000, irrespective of any browser, it will show yes what I have written that statement that is giving an output here. If you open, click on inspect element. In inspector, you will be seeing in the root. If you open that statement, what we have written, because it is loading the data what we have written, not only one statement. Okay, one more point. Irrespective, even a JavaScript or any other programming language, the return statement will return only one output at a time. For example, if I have written another statement, I want to see this statement, then immediately we will be getting an error messages. What kind of an error messages? Adjacent JavaScript extension elements must be wrapped is nothing but a group of things, group of elements, group of statements that you have to set in one element itself. Meaning, as a return is unable to return multiple statements at a time, that you have to set up in one final statement of a div or section or whatever that element that should hold a number of things. Now see that output. And if we want to apply, okay, if I want to create a concept of about us, let us assume I want to load a small information about us page here itself. Then how to create a component in the src folder itself. Whenever that you want to create a concept of different functionalities, that is function 1, function 2, function 3, function 4, we have discussed now, is nothing but a concept of components in terminology of React.JS we say. So we say here, I am creating about us. It is a component where it can have its own functionality in either .js or .jsx. Okay, how you have to write? At this moment, just have a look. Import React from React. Then, what is the name of that functionality or component? About us. Here we are using the concept of ES6, advanced concept of JavaScript, ECMAScript, which is now we are implementing arrow functions. Constant about us. That means instead of directly writing a function, we are making that it into a variable or constant. And that equals to why we have to convert it into a variable or constant, because of when there is a question comparing to variable and function, which is faster, variable is faster because it is directly holding the statement a single value output. But whereas function, you can't say only one statement, you can have a group of lines, right? So that's why we say it is called converting a function or a component into a constant, and that equals to opening closing parenthesis is a point of arguments place, and you are writing its definition. As we have discussed, every component that should have a return statement. So I am writing here, okay, for our understanding purpose, I am just writing about us. Now, okay, you know that you have done, but how the application will come to know, right now? That's why you have to export this as a default component. Once you are ready to export, that can be implemented, that can be imported. Import about us from about us folder, about us. No need to specify .js. Once you have done, in the very beginning, a React.js is a declarative, right now. That is, we can say a component that can be written in the format of HTML element itself. And here we have done React and everything that statement. And we want to see here, yes, this is we can do. If you observe here a component page view, a page about us, contact us, or any other different sectors at different pages or different components that can be connected to one particular page by using the concept of returning each and every component through to the final app component. And this app component is throwing an output to the index page with its statement of get document.getElement by ID, which is concept is throwing to the root ID. Overall, this is a statement. And if you want to write a property where you have to write a property means about us space. This is a property to the what you can say about us page. Something let me tell you, of course, sample. So about us, a component is having its property, and how you can access this property in the page. In the page of opening closing parentheses, you have to say the property. A property is nothing but a variable in general, we can say. And okay, I want to see the output of that property. How can you, with opening closing curly braces, that means a property binding, it is called, with props. What is that name? Title. Once you are done with this, then again error because of a return should not do, sorry, a return should return only one final output na? So just enclose these things. Then we can see, of course, that's if you want to see something a design that should something in the center or somewhere else, as these people of course defaultly have given some sample classes, we even can also write our own style sheets, everything. Then let me apply how to apply that style sheet. Class name is called naming convention, and that equals to, I just wants to apply app which they have given in the app.css a very beginning with a text center, and I just applied and display. So the overall concept of, we can say, how we can write the functionality and creating code. This is what we want to discuss. That is how you can create a program and can write a components, and that export default, that is the name of that component which extends a component is a base class, and so on statements we can see. Okay, then coming to the final point, comparing to the comparing to the other programming languages, why React.js is having preference means, as we have discussed in the very beginning, React.js having some features where it will work in the client side at the same time server side, first point. At the same time, where it is having a segregation of components, each component can have its own functionality, and if any of that component is having any error, it just stop that particular component only. It won't give its errors to other components or the total application problem. I am saying, irrespective of the components that you have, and if any of that component is having any error, it just stop that particular component. It won't stop the rest of the functionalities or the total application. So that is what. So additionally to the points, okay, it just general statement we can say, as a number of people are choosing point of a data science or Python programming languages, but there are no front-end developers, less in number, and that's why even that is also we can say one of the way that we can just grab a job very faster when you come to the point of React.js. Of course, not only instantly, it is irrespective of the application. Front end is very important. Without a front end, nothing else will be happen. If I am a backend developer, a MySQL database, without a front end, how can I show my data to the public? So you have to be with me. I'm saying, so a front end, and we no need to go with the concept of any backend languages, and only JavaScript. Once we have an idea, we can do something else, and something a fork, that is what additional features of React.js what we have, we can just discuss and implement that functionality. Overall concept of a React is why it is given preference means, with the concept of debugging faster, and it is a view layer which is nothing but an output layer very faster. At the same time, it runs a program only once, and that kept ready for you, and no need to run one more time. That is, for each and every common request, a data which is kept ready and loads the data very faster. That is, an output will be very faster. Additionally, one more point I say already, comparing to other programming languages, React is even working at client-side execution. At the same time, it depends upon the situation. Even it will work at the server side also, that is backend also. At server place also, it will execute a program and finally fetch the response. So these are the statements. And this ends from my, of course, the concept of how we have seen the code and everything. I request you, if you have any questions and doubts, or anything that you want to know, please let me know. We'll discuss and we'll clarify. I request you, all of you, please let us know if you have any questions. We'll clarify it. Any questions, please, from anyone?
Hello,
Yes, yes, tell me, please.
sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, please.
Yes, sir. That's a very nice presentation. Thank you for this presentation, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And then actually, some questions related to this. We can do only front end with React. For back end, how can we connect, sir?
For backend, you need to connect with either Node.js and MongoDB. Actually, the combination will be front-end React.js and backend connectivity will be with the MongoDB. It is called NoSQL. And to connect with the
Okay,
MongoDB, as we have discussed in the one of the statement, Node.js is a communication between the client and server. So through Node, Express, MongoDB, and React.js, you will be become a full, you can say, a Maven stack developer
okay,
with
sir.
only React.js front end. If you want to additionally add the features of backend also, you have to choose the point of, we can say, Node, Express, and Mongo. Totally, you will be become a Maven stack developer in that case. Okay,
Okay, thanks, sir.
right. If you see here, this is a combination of ES6. Of course, let me tell you, I'm just showing one of the batch which we are going to discuss with which is already going on, a Node and Mongo, how we can connect with the node and database connectivity and do some actions of data saving and manipulating, and working with the concept of React concepts step by step from beginning to ending. And if it is required to work with a Node Express Mongo, we have to discuss about Node Mongo and Express. And Express is a template engine which uses almost a HTML statements itself, but the syntax is different. Finally, it just gives or loads the data of an output from the backend, which is connected from the MongoDB into the React.js. To know if you are interested or curiosity, we have to discuss about the concept of even Node Express Mongo. That is later. But as it is especially related to the concept of a React.js, I'm just showing you the concept how it will work up to the point of React.js itself as a front-end developer. Okay, it's just now we have done a concept, a sample concept. There are even we can say API, how to link with the API, how to create a components and services, how to create a concept of a material UI, advanced concepts, and a number of concepts we will be discussing clearly. I will be explaining the code live will be discussed, the built-in functions, user defined functions, and code statements, how to write the syntax, everything. At the same time, will be asked you to do some assignments also. When you have any questions or queries, or else if you are unable to understand a concept, then you can raise the questions in the sessions itself, and we can clarify those doubts. I'm just saying about the concept of when we start with the regular sessions. Okay, of course, if you have any other also questions at this moment with the concept of demo what we have discussed, please let me know. So okay, to all of you, okay, thank you so much to all of you, and thanks to MindMajix for giving this opportunity. And then okay, then thank you and bye.